Hey, you. You're finally awake.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to be trying something a little bit different. Usually I like to put up daily questions, like which game is better, which console is better, etc, etc. And recently I asked the question, which Zelda game was the best, Link to the Past or Ocarina of Time? And amazingly I got over 1,500 votes, and the score was 49 to 51% to Link to the Past, which I couldn't believe how close it was. So I got to thinking, why not do a video about it? And just have a laugh about it and give my thoughts about which I think is the better game, Link to the Past or Ocarina of Time. Now, this isn't going to be a serious video. If you know me, it's going to be a piss take, having a laugh, joking at stupid things, and not really taking itself too seriously. If you want a more in-depth critique of either game, go elsewhere. That's not what this is, and I'm not like that. We all know this. I'm a moron. Now, how I'm going to be scoring this, I have borrowed a system from the Retro Hangover podcast. Now, when they do their King of Games series, they often put one game against another, and they put it against 4 criteria, which are sales and reception, presentation, legacy, and which one I would play today. But in reality, the scores don't matter. Just like whose line is it anyway, it really doesn't matter. So even if, say, Ocarina of Time takes all 4 categories, I could still go with Link to the Past at the end of the day. But really, my goal is to have this video as a starting off point. I want to hear all your thoughts, all your discussions, and you can use the same criteria I have of sales and reception, presentation, legacy, which one I play today, and just ultimately which one you think is a better game. It's all a piss take, it's all have a laugh, that's what this is for, and I want to hear your comments below because that's what this is for. And so if you do like this video, please give it a like. I'm really putting a lot of effort into this one, so I really hope you appreciate it. Before we actually go into any of the criteria, it's probably best to talk about my own personal experience with each one. Now, as we all know, I was a Mega Drive kid. Fuck the Super Nintendo, it can absolutely burn. That was my original opinion when I was a kid. Obviously, I've grown up since then, and appreciate the Super Nintendo is a great console, I understand that. But back in their day, it was Tribal Wars. We all know this if you grew up in the 90s. Now, growing up, I never got to play Link to the Past on the Super Nintendo because nobody had it. It's a simple fact, none of my friends had Legend of Zelda, so I never got to play it. My first experience of actually was when I went to Australia. I was going on a holiday as a kid, and they had it on a plane. Yes, the in-flight game had Super Nintendo games, and there it was, a Link to the Past. So I decided to give it a go. However, I did realise the control they had, although kind of like a Super Nintendo control, was absolutely dog shit, so this really wasn't off to the best start. But immediately I looked at it and went, why's Link got pink hair? Why's he got a slippery walk? I say slippery walk, I'm in two minds. It's either he's desperately in need for a shit, and he's like, desperately trying to get to the toilet, or there is a pee-pee in his bottom. You can argue which one it is. I have always seen that because I've never understood why he doesn't walk properly. Even in the original Legend of Zelda and Link's Awakening, he walks properly. Here, yeah, I don't know what's going on. Someone can have a go at me and say, oh, this is what it's for. I've always saw that, and you're never gonna tell me otherwise. And as I was playing on a plane, I really didn't get the best experience of it. And maybe this is stuck in my mind because it did take me multiple attempts to actually get into it and go, right, I'm really going to give this a go. I have finished it and I have enjoyed it. I will be honest, I have enjoyed it, but it just took so many attempts to actually do that. Ocarina of Time, however, well, to set the table with that one, I played Link's Awakening. That was the first ever Zelda game I played on the Game Boy. It has now come to me that was the one I played, and I absolutely loved it. So when I saw Ocarina of Time being promoted, I was like, I've got to get this. And it was a day one purchase. And I completed it 100%. I did absolutely everything. Got all 4 bottles. And if you know playing Ocarina of Time, to get all 4 bottles is a pain in the arse. And I fell in love with it, especially the box art. And the box art, if you're European or PAL regions, is incredible. That gold and black. Oh, it's so good. Why anyone else had any different? This is the best art of the lot. It really is. Okay, so there's my personal experience. So as you can tell from personal experience, I'm more geared towards Ocarina of Time. But as I said, it doesn't matter what my opinion is. It's all fun and games. So let's just go into the first section, shall we? Which is sales and reception. So first up, let's look at Link to the Past. The Super Nintendo version sold 4.6 million copies worldwide, and the Game Boy Advance version, which also had the Four Swords Adventure packaged in, sold roughly 2.8 million copies as well, for a total of 7.4 million copies worldwide. That is pretty good. When looking at reception, Game Rankings and Metacritic both have it sitting at 93%. When looking at publications, EGM gave it 9 out of 10, Famitsu gave it 39 out of 40, GameSpot 9.2 out of 10, IGN gave it more water, 7, no they didn't, they gave it 9.7 out of 10. There are other publications, I've just cherry-picked quite a few, but they're all pretty high. I've just picked the ones that everyone's going to know. When looking at awards, EGM gave it the best video game sequel, IGN gave it the runner-up for the best game of all time, Nintendo Power gave it the Super Nintendo Game of the Year runner-up, and GamePro and Kotaku gave it the best game of the generation. Moving over to Ocarina of Time, its N64 version sold 7.6 million, and the 3DS version sold 6.4 million copies worldwide, for a total of 14 million copies worldwide. That's nearly double the Super Nintendo version. For reception, Game Rankings gave it 98%, and Metacritic gave it 99%. It's insane. For publication scores, well, let's lay the table. Let's picture this. Imagine Ocarina of Time is in the middle, okay? I could be a man or a woman, but it is in that space. And around it are a bunch of publications, which, for this imagery, are men, okay? And every time they want to give something to the person in the middle, it's a perfect score, okay? You've all got the image, you all know what I'm talking about here. There's no way I was putting something like this on YouTube would ban it immediately. That's hot. But every single publication wanted to be in that circle to give Ocarina of Time a perfect score, including Famitsu, which gave it its first perfect 40 of its whole publication. When you're looking at awards, EGM, GameSpot, among so many others, gave it Game of the Year. CVG, Edge, IGN, GameFAQs, among so many others, gave it the greatest of all time. Let's be brutally honest here, Link to the Past did sell very well, sold incredibly well for a Super Nintendo game, and it got some really good awards and really high scores. But Ocarina of Time, it's stupid. It's the best rated game of all time. The amount of awards it's got attached to it is insane. The bling off it is blinding. So for the winner for this section is, of course, Ocarina of Time. Next, we go into presentation. This could be a bit of the big one, and I'm not going to go into the story beats too much here, but again, other channels will do that so much better here. I'm just here for stupidity. So Link to the Past opens up with the Triforce floating in, very cool, and then the Master Sword just comes right through the middle. That is very cool. The opening sequence of the game is really cool, like you've got the rain, the thunder, the darkness, and Zelda puts like a telepathic message out there to say, please help me, I'm in trouble, and you see Link in bed asleep with his uncle, and his uncle goes, right, come on, I need to go save Zelda, whatever. I just kept thinking, what if Link was playing with the sausage at that time? Few things there. Zelda's in his mind as he's playing with the sausage, and then his uncle's in the room. I know people are going to be saying, but he's asleep clearly. I don't care. Where does Link get to play with the sausage at their house? Nowhere. The boy has no privacy. Shocking. So your uncle pisses off, and then later you decide, I better just go follow. And then like 5 minutes later, you find him dead. And the funny thing about this is like, Link, take my sword, you will be fine. And then you're just like, bye, and you just walk past him. No grieving, no nothing. Sod ya, I don't care. Whoop, off I'm going. And poor uncle's like, ugh, and you're just like, nah. No emotion, nothing. But aside from that little bit of stupidity in my mind, this is an incredible world, full of secrets. Like, I love going around Hyrule, looking for heart pieces. Like, it's like, oh, what little adventures can I find? Oh, there's a wall I can bomb, let's go in there. Oh, there's a hole I can jump into, let's go in there. Or I can get the flippers and go underwater and find something there. I think it's really cool. It's like the NES version on crack, to put it quite bluntly, because the NES venture was all about going around finding things, and this is exactly the same, just a very, very upscaled model. But then you get sent into the dark world of Hyrule by Aghanim, whatever his goddamn name is. But you get sent to the dark world, which is really cool, but it's Hyrule, but dark. And then you realize, holy shit, it's double the game. You've got 2 worlds, and you've now got 2 worlds to find stuff. Even cooler. And you realize at points you can actually switch between the 2 worlds with the magic mirror or going through portals. And you find out that if you do one action in one world, it can affect the other. This interconnectivity is really great. Like, I absolutely love. And the game is so big, and whilst waddling around needing a poo or the penis up your bum, you have so much places to go adventure. The Dark World is the highlight here. I will say that. This is why people want to play that game. They remember it so much for the Dark World. And it's unfair straight away to say, well, it's going to lose this category because it's a 2D game against a 3D game. No, that's not fair, and I'm not going to use that as an argument because that really isn't fair. Like, at the time, this was unprecedented. This was huge. This was an early Super Nintendo game, and this blew people's mind. And how Nintendo were able to craft a game so well, so early into the Super Nintendo's life cycle, that continued to be one of the best on the whole system, like much so Super Mario World, was, God forbid, it was incredible. But when you go to the Dark World, you have more enemies to fight, and they hit harder. So because it's the Dark World, things are a lot harder in that place. Although I will be brutally honest, I don't like how the sword works in this game. I don't like its hitbox detection. I always felt they had it right in Link's Awakening. Like, going from Link's Awakening to going to Link to the Past was a bit of an eye-opener. I was like, it doesn't handle the same. I don't like it. Like, the fact I've got to get guards off their bad weapon. That's just me. People can go over me and go nuts. As part of this adventure, you had to go into numerous dungeons. And I love this. You had to go get your 3 MacGuffins, and then you get the Master Sword, then you go to the Dark World and do even more dungeons. It's brilliant. And the dungeons themselves, these self-contained little areas, although there are ones that kind of go into the main world and back and in and back and in, which is cool because it's basically having that interactivity with the main world. But these dungeons all have their own little theme, where usually you might get an item or a weapon that might help you in the dungeon fight, and you've got to use your brain to try and work out how you're going to get through these dungeons, solve the puzzles, and beat the boss. So I love a good Zelda dungeon. Always have, always will. The better the Zelda dungeon, the more little puzzles you give me, the harder I have to think. Love it. And Link to the Past has that, which is great. They also have their own set of bosses, and the bosses can be memorable. Like the Helmasaur King is the first one you fight in the Dark World. I love that boss. It's this big, huge red thing, like you have to hit with a hammer. I love it. I love the design. I love how fucking big it is. It's cool. But Moldorm, that can just fuck off. You can just absolutely fuck off. Hate that thing. Hate you. Hate life. Hate the designer even made it. God damn hate it. The last thing I'll move on to about Link to the Past is the music. It's a great soundtrack. It sticks with you. It has its own identity. We all know what it is. The only problem I have in this thing is that when you leave a building, as in the light world, you constantly hear that dun 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 dun. Great tune, fantastic tune, love it. But it's the fact you can go into a building, come out, start again. Go in, come out, start again. And it's like, oh, for God's sake, I've had this like start up about 10 times in the past minute. Fuck's sake. Just give me another tune. Just give me like another tune to vary it, please. I was like, I know I'm great. I know I'm Link. Gonna save the day. I was like, I know he's awesome, but hearing it so often can get on your tits just a little bit. Now, moving on to Ocarina of Time, let's be honest, that opening sequence where you see Navi going through the village, you're thinking, oh my god, how is this even possible? The graphics are insane. The world building's insane. And then immediately, homophobia. Yeah, very freaking Kokori weirdos calling everyone gay. How dare we don't appreciate that in this world. Horrible people. The world of Ocarina of Time is massive, and every area has its own signature world. The castle, the Gorons, the Zoras, the village, the Guardos. There is so much life coming from it. Like, every character has their own personality. There's just so much there to explore. I don't care what anyone says. It was jaw-dropping at the time. Yes, I can know what people are going to be saying. Well, Dan, Hyrule Field is, nothing. Yeah, I accept that. Hyrule Field is a big inconnectivity of nothing, with barely any secrets. But I can ride a horse round there, motherfucker. So, yeah. Win. Can you ride a horse in Link to the Past? No. Can you ride a horse in Ocarina of Time? Yes, you can, goddammit, as an adult. Either way, it's still bitching. Also, all you're going to be hearing the most of the time is ya, 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 as Link is going to be rolling across the field, much like in Symphony of the Night, where all you're going to be seeing is Alucard just doing the Michael Jackson hee-hee backslide the whole time. If you don't know what I mean, play Castlevania Symphony of the Night, and all you'll be doing is moonwalking. Hee-hee-hee. That's all you'll be doing. But yes, when you play Zelda, all you'll be doing is ya, 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 because rolling is quicker than walking. Why they're not trying to sort that shit out? Ridiculous. Now, as I said, in every area of the game, there are loads of characters to engage with, far more characters than there are in Link to the Past, except that doesn't mean I'm going to like every single one of them. I do not like the owl, I do not like Princess Rutto, and I do not like Mido. If I had the chance, I'd stab every one of them. Quite aggressive, but I would. But it also got me thinking on a post-edit, it'd be an interesting game of marry, fuck, kill. So I ask you guys in the comments, which one are you gonna marry, fuck, kill out of the owl, Princess Rutto, and Mido? And you can't just say, I'm gonna get a quick divorce. No, you're married to that person for life. The owl will be a bit awkward. How's that gonna work in the bedroom? Either way, that's not for me to decide, that's for you guys to try and work out. Similar to Link to the Past, the story, which I'm not really touching on, has you collect 3 MacGuffins, then a big event happens, and in Link to the Past, as I said, it's claiming the Master Sword, then you get sent to the Dark World by whatever his name, That's not me glitching out, that's just me saying his name, and then you get sent to the Dark World. In Ocarina of Time, it's going to a church. On your own. The church is empty. I'm sure Link, a child, is going to be okay. If you think I was actually putting the real Law and Order theme music in there, you're wrong. I'll get copyrighted immediately, so deal with my little voiceover. Once you get the 3 MacGuffins in place and play a bit of music, the door opens and there's the Master Sword. So you have to walk up to the pedestal, get both hands, and tug on the Master Sword.
No homo. Yes. No homo indeed.
And then you'll be frozen. Yes, you'll be frozen for 7 years, and Link becomes an adult. Wait, hang on. Who changed him? He went in with these clothes, and he's coming out with these clothes. Who put those clothes on him? Oh. Him. The pervy sage. No, not him. I like Jiraiya. Him. That's not good. I think a report needs to be made. But like the Dark World, the future world is dark and grim. Oh, they just did a copy and paste of Link to the Past. You find out that because you went and pulled on the big sword, you opened up the realm to the gods, which basically meant that Ganondorf snuck in and tried to get the Triforce, but was only able to get one of them, Triforce of Power, and he's basically destroyed everything in your wake, and now everything is under his rule. So you also find out that you can go back and forth between time, and doing certain actions can affect each one. Wow, they really did do a copy and paste of Link to the Past. Now, one thing I mentioned earlier was the dungeons. They're incredible here. Like, I will fight you, they are better than Link to the Past. Like, I was blown away by them. Yes, you could say some of the puzzles may be better Link to the Past, and the fact that everything is contained in one room, you can see it all straight away. Fine, I will hear that argument. But the reason why I like the dungeons in Ocarina of Time so much more is the atmosphere that they allude, and I suppose that is only possible because of 3D graphics. It's a bit unfair to Link to the Past, but that's just the way it is. Like, I loved some of the dungeons, like even the Water Temple. God, the Water Temple can be a pain in the arse. Like, it really is. Like, the constant switching of boots is a pain. Thank God for the 3DS version. Even so, the atmosphere of that game is just awesome. There's a real sense of you are in a big-ass tree, you are in a big-ass volcano, you are in a big temple, and I love it. I always have done. The game itself introduced Z-targeting, which allowed for one-on fights with enemies, and a lot of people then tried to pinch that for future games. It also helped with targeting on projectiles, so you want to try and get that bat? Haha, got it straight away. Fights just felt more focused, rather than just swinging the sword randomly like you might have been doing in Link to the Past. Also, when you're talking about bosses, I love Dark Link. I also love Phantom Ganon. I think that's cool. The guy's coming through a goddamn painting. It's awesome. And then you get to play Zelda tennis, which is also fun. Music as well, I think Ocarina of Time wins all day long. Why? Because of this tune. I could dance to this all day long. I don't care what anyone says. I will literally fight you. This is one of the best Zelda tracks ever. Also, because of the ocarina. You may hate it, but some people believe they want to be music maestros, so they try and make their own tunes in the game, realizing they've got no sense of musical talent whatsoever. Like, my cousin bought one just so he could learn Zelda tunes. Ultimately, while both games do have really strong adventures, really strong gameplay, and really strong presentation, I have to give it to Ocarina of Time, just because I think it does take what Link to the Past had and just built on it even more. And unfortunately, having that 3D just allowed it to be able to do so much more. I did say I wasn't going to pick on Link to the Past because it was 3D, but having that 3D just allowed it to do a little bit more. And again, maybe nostalgia's taking over here, but that's just what it is. Now, moving on to legacy. Now, Link to the Past does have an incredible legacy. It's known as being one of the best games, if not the best game, on the Super Nintendo and the 16-bit era. It brought us the light and the dark world, which were brilliant. I can't highlight that enough. Fantastic, fantastic thing. This Link himself had 3 sequels. Now, if you don't know, each Zelda game is a different Link. But in this Link, he had his own 3 adventures. He went on to do Link's Awakening, and then he had Link's Oracle of Ages and Seasons. And there was another sequel set many, many generations in the future with Link Between Worlds. And I love Link Between Worlds. Link Between Worlds is one of my favourite Zelda games of all time. It also was the first time you had items like the flippers, and the hookshot made their first appearance. It was also the first appearance of the cuckoo. You never piss off the cuckoo, because if you attack the cuckoo, they will kill you. And that constant gag of the cuckoos killing you has gone on all the way through every Zelda game. I earlier just mentioned that Ocarina of Time took the framework of Link to the Past and essentially just built on it. And this is true, because a lot of future Zelda games do take the framework that was given from Link to the Past and uses that for future games. I don't think it's until Breath of the Wild that the formula actually changes and goes back to the original NES. That's how important Link to the Past actually is. It also solidified the Zelda series after Zelda 2. What I mean by that is everyone loved the original Legend of Zelda on the NES. But when it came to the sequel, they often experimented, and Legend of Zelda 2 was often that case when it became The Adventure of Link, and it wasn't necessarily the best received. Some loved it, some hated it. So going to Link to the Past and going back to what the NES had built was a smart move, and really solidified Zelda as a big mainstay franchise. Moving over to Ocarina of Time, it's considered as one of the best, if not the best game of all time. Its reception scores are absolutely ridiculous, and I don't think they're ever going to get beaten. I can't see anything ever beating that Metacritic score. I really can't. It introduced Z-targeting, it established what adventure games could be, it introduced Ganondorf into this world as a main character, because prior to that he wasn't a humanoid, he was Ganon, a big pig thing, and this was kind of like his pre-form, because what it did do is introduce the timeline. Now, if you don't know what the timeline is, there is a timeline where all the Zelda games, apart from Breath of the Wild, kind of fit. They start off with Skyward Sword and start on like a downwards trajectory, but then when we get to Ocarina of Time, it splits in 3 different ways. And I'm not going to go sit there and go into all the different directions, but all you need to know is Link to the Past is settled in one of those directions, and Majora's Mask and Twilight Princess is one of the other directions. And this Link from Ocarina of Time went on to go to Majora's Mask, and then he became a bitter skeleton thing in Twilight Princess. Yes, he did. He became bitter because no one actually knew what he did. No one had any idea. Although I will say, it's a bit harsh, because literally he comes back and he goes, yeah, Princess Zelda, Ganondorf was trying to take over everything. He's a bastard. So Zelda goes and tells her dad, and then they kill Ganondorf. Minority Report much? I know he technically would have gone to do that, but maybe if he just put other plans in place, you can say, oh, he's not going to do it now. Oh, he's not actually done it. He's guilty of thought policing. I don't... Is he? Do we kill him? He's not actually done it. Yet. That's a question for the minds. Scary. Either way, both games have their own strong legacy, and it's difficult to say which one wins this point. Actually, no, it's very easy to say which one's this point. Ocarina of Time brought us Navi. Fuck Navi off. I can't stand her. Winner of this topic is Link to the Past. And that takes us to our final topic. Which one would I rather play today? Now, here I'm going to be blatantly honest. Ocarina of Time wins this one. And the best proof of this was when my son was born, Goten. He's not actually called Goten, for anyone calls. It's not his real name, it's his internet name. But when he was born 7 months ago, I had an urge to play a Zelda game whilst I was in hospital, and I started playing Ocarina of Time. So when him and the Queen were asleep in bed, on our first night, I was sitting there having the Ocarina music playing as he slept, and it was very cute. And then the wife opened her eyes and looked at me and went, get that shit off immediately. So, yeah, she hates it. She can't stand it. But either way, it was just really nice looking at my new little son with that Ocarina music playing in the background. So the winner here is Ocarina of Time. So the overall result here is that Ocarina of Time wins 3-1, having won sales and reception, presentation, and what I'd play today, with Link to the Past winning Legacy. And ultimately, that might not matter. But it does. I'm still going to go with Ocarina of Time as my favourite out of the two. Not having that impact playing Link to the Past at release definitely is a huge reason why Ocarina of Time probably wins this one, as nostalgia is a powerful drug. I do, however, accept the 3DS version of Ocarina of Time is better, as Link actually looks like goddamn Link. I just think Ocarina of Time is a better game. It's bigger, grander, plays better, has better world building and better characters. And the thing is, you can disagree with me, and that's completely fine, or you can completely agree with me. But I want to hear in the comments what you think. Remember to give me your scores. Was it a clean sweep by Link to the Past? Did it win every category? Was the ones where someone won the scores but actually lost the real vote? I want to hear from you guys what you think. But remember, use those 4 categories. Or if you want, just rant. It's fine, I don't care, it's all good fun. In reality, I hope you've really enjoyed this video. This was just used as a stepping point and for me just have a bit of fun. Until then, I'll see you all soon for another video. You all take care of yourself. My name's been Danny. Follow your dreams.